have a crafty business called Glue and Glitter. I try to use repurposed materials pretty much wherever I can. I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about how you can think about your materials and sort of your crafty impact. Like Liz and Jeff were just saying, you know, there are people like the soap maker that they go all out and every step of their process is green, but everybody, you know, you can just start wherever you can start. And I think a good place to start is to think about the materials that you're using. So I'm going to kind of talk about what I learned when I started researching my own materials, and then how you can kind of find things out about what you're using and kind of grade your process a little bit. So I do love sewing, and so fabric is my main material that I kind of looked into. And I found some fun facts about fabric. I guess the first one I want to talk about is conventional cotton, which was kind of horrifying to learn about the more I researched. The first thing that I found that kind of gobsmacked me was that 25% of the world's pesticide use is for growing conventional cotton. That's a lot, and that goes into the groundwater. It's not good for the people who are working with the material itself. It's generally not great. I also learned that a lot of the cotton that we are using, the conventional cotton, comes from India. The farmers in India are committing suicide at this alarming rate, like several people per day, because they are completely in debt because the conventional seeds, a lot of it is controlled by Monsanto. I'm sure you guys know Monsanto, yes? Okay. So I won't go into that. But they made some false claims about the seeds being higher yield and about them being disease resistant. Also, a lot like what they did with some other like agricultural things in third world countries, the seeds are sterile, so you can't grow the plant and then take the seeds and plant more cotton. You have to buy seeds year after year, expensive seeds from Monsanto. So if you're using organic cotton, you're kind of helping farmers get out under the thumb of that big agribusiness. I have them out of order. Oh, but I'm not going to. Okay, so the second thing I kind of looked into was bamboo, and I will admit to you that I was in bamboo denial for a long time. I had heard some things, they were sort of like just things people had mentioned in passing, and I was kind of nervous to even do research because I feel like a lot of the time I'll research something and it's just kind of depressing. So bamboo has some upsides. It grows really, really fast, and it doesn't need very many pesticides to grow because it's actually a weed, so it grows really well, and it's also a great oxygen producer. So those are all wonderful things about bamboo. The only bummer about it is the process turning the weeds into fiber. It doesn't have like fibers like cotton does. So what they have to do is like, they mash it down into this slurry, and then they add all these chemicals which are really bad for the workers who are in the factories and whatnot. And there's some really bad side effects if you work around bamboo fabric a lot, like on the production end. Maybe not as much if you're like a crafter. And then they kind of roll it out into fabric, sort of like polyester. It's a lot like polyester. There are like some other processes that they use. I think it's called lyocell. That's a little bit better. So you can like look at the labels and try to find bamboo that's a little bit better. The last thing I'm going to talk about on the fabric facts side of things is hemp, which I know hemp is for hippies. But hemp is also kind of amazing. It almost seems too good to be true to me. It grows fast like bamboo. It doesn't need a lot of pesticides like bamboo, and it's a great oxygen producer also. But somehow it also nourishes the land where you're planting it. Like a lot of crops you have to rotate because it takes nutrients out of the soil. Hemp doesn't. It makes it better somehow. And it also, like cotton, doesn't need to be slurried and rolled out. And it also is very durable. It gets somehow more durable and softer as you're using it. Hemp is basically amazing. So that's kind of the things that I've learned, and it just kind of lets you be mindful when you're shopping for materials. And you can, it really only took a little bit of Googling to find this stuff. So, if you're into scrapbooking or if you're into knitting, you can just kind of Google the things that you're using, like yarn and paper, and try and figure out. You just want to kind of be a materialist, but like an actual materialist. Like, love your materials. And, you want to know where they come from, you want to know what their impact is, and if you find out that something has a problem, there are alternatives out there, just like Jeff and Liz were talking about. And it's something that a lot of crafters do already. I mean, you wouldn't be inclined to make things if you didn't love the materials you were working with. The last thing I want to talk about is closing your production loop. So from the minute that you get the materials to the minute you finish your project, if you think of it as like a circle, you want to try to close that circle. Like with the bamboo fabric, the circle's not very closed because at the end you have all these nasty chemicals. They don't go back to the beginning and start over and continue in that circle. It's like things go back out into the environment in kind of a harsh way. And there are a lot of things you can do, like if you're a scrapbooker, for example, all those little bits of paper, you can save them for packaging fragile things instead of throwing them in the trash or the recycle bin. Or if you're a seamstress, I actually save all my tiny scraps, like the ones that are real tiny, and give them to a girlfriend. She uses them in stuffies that she makes. Just things like that, and you can kind of network with friends and other crafters. Even if like it's not something you can use, you can probably find a friend to help out, and everybody wins. And that's really all I got. Yes.